Hello and welcome. My name is DYC89 and I present to you Quartet of Hearts. Now, one thing I want to mention before I let the game play by itself while I talk, you may have noticed this bleeding of the immortals at the top of the logo. Now, what that means is that this story, as stated in the previous video, is like a spin-off. It carries characters and the story of the canon universe into this like spin-off. There is a connection on why everything is different, but I don't want to say anything because it's like a spoiler so, to the whole point of this video. Sorry, of this video game. So I'm just gonna leave that a little vague. But basically, I just wanted to include that little nod because this the Bleeding of the Immortals is the title that I'm giving to the main story arc or the canon universe, while Quartet of the Hearts has to do with this like side story. But I just wanted to point that out. Okay, so I actually had already recorded this entire video, but I ended up repeating myself a little bit too much, in a way. I just want to go through this video again because I do want to keep it short. After all, the purpose of this video is a self-reminder of what I have like programmed so far. Now, originally I was gonna just let the game play by itself in the background, but I noticed that I'm gonna be referencing this my Notepad plus plus, where I'm basically writing the code. Now, I'm gonna go through this, but in a way that I will understand it. If any of you are watching this video and you have questions regarding what I'm doing, feel free to post them in the comments below or on the Reddit post or Twitter post that I'll be making. Anyway, so the thing about Renpy is that it uses the Python coding engine. Though I used to have C plus. I can't remember if that's what the one that uses Click Team Fusion, but I know that's the one that's being used for Unity. At least as far as I remember, which it's probably been 1 or 2 years. So I'm not sure if that has changed. Anyway, so Renpy uses Python, in which you have to define every character that you're going to be referencing within the video game. Now, you don't have to, however, if you don't, a lot of the text is just going to be default. Actually, let me do that. Which is that, like, the character has this like default text box and it has the words there. Now, Renpy does allow you to program your own text box, and you can see that in like Doki Doki Literature Club, for example, where all of the characters use like the same text box. There's a way you can program it where you just upload the image that you like, and you can even modify it by some like very smart transformations. But I didn't want to do that. I wanted the player's thoughts to be in this default setting, and then the character speaking to have this unique text box. However, because I want to do that, I have to define them. Same goes with their name showing up here. For example, this is like a three question mark character, and I define that person as X over here. So define, every time I write the letter X, this equals a character with the name three question marks. Who is referring to the character. Color is referring to the color of that font of the three question marks. In this case, it's white. And this code here I got from using GIMP. It's a free editing program, very similar to, well, kind of similar to Photoshop. Photoshop is obviously better, but you can do a lot of cool stuff with GIMP either way. And I use that to get this specific color. Now, I wanted my characters to be color coded, which is why I decided to specify these colors so that just it's a little detail I notice in things like Five Nights at Freddy, and I like that concept, so I'm bringing it over. What is referring to the text. Like, are you awake? Here, let me help you out. That's what is. Color, same thing. Outlines is just like a special, like built-in function, and it gives a like a border to the text. In this case, I set it to be black in order to make the font pop out from the specific like text box that I created. Uh, all of the font of this game is managed separately, and it uses a different file for you to set that up. So that's why it's not specifying what font I'm using here. So it's like a global font that any text in the screen or in the game, or in-game text more like, is going to have that specific font. Same thing goes for the font used for player names, or character names in this case. It's also decided by that option. Here I just once again specifying the background image I'm using for that text box in the window background GUI text thingamajig. Okay, so that's it for define. This here, as part of the tutorial. It's just like a special transition to make the screen fade to white. Because normally if you put fade, it'll fade to black. But this is just another code that I got from the tutorial. Now everything you're seeing down here, same with image that I didn't mention with the X character. Image is just to tell the system that if I'm writing down the name of this character, which would be JKE, or even a bigger abbreviation, just J, it's gonna search for the images that have this name, followed by, uh, I guess it's just like calling more information. Like if I write down J, it's gonna look images that start with JKE, and then down here it says like, okay, if I write J and then happy, please find the image that has JKE underscore and the happy thing that I wrote here. And it's going to start displaying that image. The reason I'm doing this is because I want the player avatar and the like important characters, in this case the Quartet of Hearts, which is four dateable characters basically, because this is a data game and all of these codes have to do with that, so that when I bring up a character and I write down the expression that I want them to have, the game is going to automatically switch them to that expression. So that's all this mess. You can pause and look at it if you like. Uh, Obviously, I went with these emotions, but some of these characters may not even use these emotions because it's like not part of their personality. The code below, like I even included here, so I might not need to explain this one too much. It's just like positioning of the character. Instead of using left, center, or right, I can just put slight left. Below this whole code right here has to do with that like the emotions thing that I spoke about up here. This is just that whenever I go from like happy to blushing, it's not going to be like a one frame switch. It's going to have like this nice little fade in effect, which Renpy knows as dissolve, or Python. I'm just going to call it Renpy. After that, the game begins, and I have to use label start. Now, this start here is just to generalize because it's like the most common option, but labels themselves can be called anything. In fact, when it comes to making different endings, it would be better if you label it like that. So label good ending or label game over, because whenever let's say you make a choice where they ask you, "Hey, do you want to jump down the bridge?" for example, and you click yes. Uh, at the end of that code, you're gonna have to write down jump to game over, and then it's gonna find a label that says game over, and it'll play that. Down below, because now that the game has started, I have to let the game remember the kind of attributes that I wish for the game to have. And once again, this ties back to the possible endings. And so these four characters already have like a neutral amount, which will change depending on your choices. Either going up higher, which will give you the good ending, or you can even decrease them to go lower, and this will give you the bad ending. Now I want to separate the segments, sorry, into like a day one, day two, day three kind of thing, like chapters, just as a self reminder of where I am. So if I'm writing day two and there's something there I need to change, I can just quickly go back to it. Okay, so just to like speed through this, because all of the codes below is just basic stuff you can get from going through the tutorial, which you'll get when you open up Renpy for the first time. This tutorial will explain a lot of these things. like the show command, the width, which is just like transition effects that you can add to the images. Um, Also to keep in mind the order of the images. The first one you write will be on the back, and the last image that you decide to show will be on the front. When it comes to background, it's better to use scene, or when switching backgrounds, because scene will eliminate all of the characters that are on that scene, which may be perfect so that you don't have to individually hide them, uh, each one. From here is just basic stuff. Then the menu. Again, this is part of the tutorial, but one thing I do want to bring up with this, because it's labeled, is that just like the label, menu also have, well, labels. By that I mean that if you were to use this jump command, it's gonna take you back to this like menu option. And this is good if in this situation where you want the character to explore all of the options, you can just jump to that menu again. Now there is ways where if you already selected an option, it goes away. I'm gonna so I'll just put in the link below. I'm sorry, in the description below that code. Or if you manage to see it while I was here, because I think it was one of these. It's definitely one of these. Anyway, uh, it was probably that one. Anyway, so it's menu thingamajigs. Here I do want to go to Jake specifically. Uh, this action met is just to confirm that something happened. In this case, I met this character because later on I bring this character again. However, because you have the option of like not meeting him, it wouldn't make sense for the player avatar to recognize this character. So this action here is just for me to call upon it later. Uh, oh yeah, number signs mean is like a system function. In this case is to affect that attribute that I set up earlier. So upon selecting this, affect the system value, which is Jake's path, minus, and then the equal is referring to how much is being affected. In this case, a one, just the value of one. So it's gonna subtract one from the total value, which I set it up as 5. Here, this Renpy notify is just to make a message appear that says the specific line. Now, I'm doing this because I do want to give a hint to the players whenever they pick the wrong option, the one that gives a negative effect. However, I won't be giving this message if you pick a option that doesn't give you any points or the option that gives you positive points. Now, the reason behind this is that I still want players to like take notice of how the characters are reacting because each one has their own personality. So, where let's say you try to flirt with one, it doesn't work on them because they're just not into that. However, one of the other characters may really like that you flirt them, so that you'll get them some extra points on that one. However, they might also be indifferent about it, where you flirt with them, but they're so oblivious to what you're doing that it doesn't really register as a positive effect on them. It's just a neutral response. So I do want players to like sort of understand who they could flirt with and who they can't. If that makes sense. Uh, Other than that, I think that's it. I don't think I have any other specific codes that I'm using that I haven't explained. Because the first chunk is usually the most difficult one. Uh, with the defining the process of the characters, defining any special effects or special codes that you want to. For a very simple visual novel, that's pretty much all you need, just to define your character and define the different options and define this different endings. In this case, I set up that if you have met Lucius and picked the correct option, you'll get a little special dialogue when he gets called upon, and this is where if statements start to become important. Where in this case, if this attribute Lucius' path is greater or equal than number 6, please play this special dialogue. And for anything else, put this one. In this case, it would be anything below 5 and below. You'll get these. in the case that I have to specify more negative comments, I would put it here before the else statement. I think it's else if or elif. It's a very weird code. I don't. Most of these statements like make sense if you read them out loud, but elif doesn't really like, or saying else if just doesn't make sense to me. But I understand what it does, and that's good enough. And that's about it. That's all the coding I have so far. I don't think I'll add any more complicated things because there's with the Python, there's definitely a lot more complicated programming that you could do. Uh, I'm not sure if I already said this because I've been re-recording myself to make this shorter. Uh, a lot of games like have these RPG type of menus or even usage of items. Some even have actual RPG combat. There's like Doki Doki Literature Club, where you all those glitches and all those weird things they're programmed in Renpy. Same with how you select different options to make a poem and how that affects the player. Well, the characters. There's a lot of things like that, but I don't want to do that too much. I just want this to be a visual novel to enjoy. Anyway, I think that's all that I need to self remind myself. I'm still gonna leave a descriptive comment on this video, or not comment, descript of a detailed description on the description box of this video, just going over the basics of what I just said here, because it's really all I need. Uh, I'm mainly doing this video because I might forget in the future how I got this far, so I just want to have a video where I remind myself how I got this far, so that I don't lose any progress. Anyway, that's all from me. If anyone's watching this and you're also new to Renpy, there's Reddit and also the Renpy forums where you can get. Uh, I got a lot of these answers by just Googling it. A couple more specific things. I even got them from Reddit from someone else that had the same issue as me. So if there's something you don't understand, you could go to those places, or if there's anything that I show today, well, on this video, that you have questions about, you could go ahead. I'm still new and I'm really liking to learn this program just for the aspect of this visual novel. Other than that, again, this video is just mostly as a self-reminder. If I am to forget, I'll be watching my own video. But I decided to record and upload this because maybe someone else will learn something from this. I hope so. It's also the chance that I explained it very poorly. Alright then. So thank you all for watching, and until next time, take care and have fun playing. Lates.